Nepal is a landlocked country that borders India to the south and Tibet, China to the north. You might know Nepal from Mount Everest, the highest peak in the world. Or maybe you know Nepal for its weird flag, the only one in the world that isn't a rectangular shape. Or maybe you know Nepal as being the birthplace of Buddhism. I know all these facts, trust me. But on top of that, what comes to mind when I think of Nepal are its core fundamental issues that it has struggled with in the past and continues to struggle with now. Too early? No. Nepal is the second poorest country in Asia. As of 2013, its GDP per capita was just under $700. Now, if you don't know, that's awfully low. For comparison's sake, the United States GDP per capita at the same time was over $50,000. Because of my dad's work, growing up, I lived in several different countries in Asia, including Thailand, Pakistan, and finally Nepal. We stayed in Kathmandu between 2009 and 2012. That was Justin Bieber's career high. This isn't Justin Bieber, this is me, Nepal. Political instability in Nepal is reflected through large-scale protests and strikes that occurred almost weekly. But why do these strikes occur? Well, you see, Kathmandu is in a valley called Kathmandu Valley, surrounded by mountains with just under 5 main roads that lead into the city. Protesters can easily take advantage of this and block the city off. With this, the supply of propane gas for stoves, gas for cars, diesel for generators, and all types of other material needs, it stops. It's a pretty effective way to get your word out. Because of this, everyone in Kathmandu stores these resources. For example, in my family, we had 12 cylinders for gas and 4 cylinders for diesel. We kept these filled at all times, as you never knew when the next strike was and how long it was going to last. This is a picture of a strike from November 9th, 2012, one of the bigger ones. The communist protesters not only blocked off the city, but they also blocked off Singapore, the Nepalese government, well, the home of the Nepalese government. This chaotic mess is what I remember. Hours in line waiting for gas, angry Maoist communist slogans being yelled constantly, military demonstrations on the street right behind our backyard. But why does this political instability exist? It arises from there's a variety of aspects that contribute to it, from lack of education to lack of trust in government and party politics. Political instability has been a problem in Nepal for a long time. After the king was toppled and Nepal became a federal republic in 2008, 3 main parties emerged: the United Marxist-Leninist Party, the Maoist Party, and the Congress Party, which had strong support from India. Older political parties like the Congress Party want an Indian-style parliamentary system, but opposing those are the Maoists, who advocate for new people's democracy, where those excluded from politics before have now set the terms. With this extreme separation in party priorities and demands, Nepal took more than seven years to draft a constitution. It was only passed 2 years ago in 2015. Rather than representing the people, these political parties were too busy fighting each other. Though not all of Nepal's issues stem from political instability, issues such as education, energy efficiency, infrastructure, and health continue to worsen without solutions because of it. Here's a question for the audience. Can any of you guys guess what this is? Any takes? Well, this is actually a load shedding schedule in Kathmandu. Our house was from group 6. If you don't know, load shedding is when power is cut from these sectors. So in group 6, we didn't have power from 9 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon, and so on. These issues worsen without solutions because of the country's lack of stability. Without the core of a country, the government, it poisons the land and it only makes the people suffer further. A perfect example of this is the earthquake in 2015. Nepal, sitting smack on the border of 2 tectonic plates, should have expected an earthquake at any time, but in no way was Nepal prepared for the earthquake in 2015, April of 2015. It killed more than 9,000 people, but only 9 days after the earthquake, the United Communist Party of Nepal didn't release a plan of action, but instead announced that it would withdraw support from the government in order to topple the prime minister at the time. The country had one of the slowest response times in history. $4.1 billion were raised internationally in foreign grants and loans to support the country. But an entire year later, only a small fraction of the money had reached an even smaller fraction of the people who were affected by the earthquake. During that winter, almost 1 million Nepali households had to live in temporary structures. While Nepal's political leaders were engaged in interminable fights, the people's needs went unaddressed. What must be recognized here is that political instability contributes and leads to even more political instability. When people can't access services and necessities such as gas, electricity, and water, they protest the government. But these protests only elicit stronger responses from opposing parties. And as the instability worsens, the issues worsen as well. It's a vicious and self-fulfilling cycle. Politicized party politics in Nepal made it impossible for the government to deliver to its people, a basic principle of all governments. Here's another picture of the earthquake. What's next? The issue of political instability isn't just a developmental issue faced by Nepal. This challenge is faced by many other developing countries in the world. It hinders developmental growth and socioeconomic progress. The importance of a stable and functioning government cannot be underestimated in a country's development and prosperity. I'm Tyson Zhang, and I believe that political stability is a requisite for progress to be made. Thank you.